Now it's time to get the inside scoop on all the electricity going on in Mississippi Thunder Speedway. It's time for Thunder Talk with Dan Bailey, brought to you by Jailhouse Saloon. Now, here's your host, Dan Bailey.
This Friday night, final green flag action of the month of August at Mississippi Thunder Speedway with the 2019 USMTS End of Summer Bash. The Stars and Cars, the United States Modified Touring Series, going to be back in town for the second visit to Mississippi Thunder Speedway for the 2019 season. In addition to those USMTS Stars and Cars, USRA B mods, USRA late models, and USRA hobby stocks, and of course, this Friday night, that big M&M Lawn and Leisure giveaway with that 2019 Polaris 450 four-wheeler, the vacation to Vegas, and the family vacation to the Kalahari and the Wisconsin Dells. You gotta be at Mississippi Thunder Speedway this Friday night. Gonna be a lot of fun. I guarantee you will enjoy the end of summer bash. I think I have my finger on the pulse of somebody who will also enjoy a trip to Mississippi Thunder Speedway this Friday night. That's because every time he's visited us this year, he's loaded his car out of the trailer with a feature win and a lot of extra cash in his pocket, and that's Rodney Sanders, driver of the number 20 machine. Rodney, welcome to Thunder Talk this week.
Yeah, thanks for having me on.
Rodney, you've been up to Mississippi Thunder Speedway this year a few times, and each time you've been able to pull out a win. So when you return to a track like this, bringing some success along with you at the particular speedway, and it being one of these USMTS hunts for the championship, I'm sure you must be feeling a little optimistic coming back to Mississippi Thunder Speedway this Friday night.
Yeah, a little bit. That's one of my favorite tracks. Bob and everybody over there always does a great job on, having the track right. So, yeah, we always look forward to going over there, and we've had some success over there. So, we definitely have a good notebook, but, it can also be a little different this time, or, things might not just work out. So we got to kind of be ready for everything, and we're going to try to do that.
As you look back through your career, I think it was 2009 when you won your first career USMTS win at LA Raceway down in Missouri. And here we are just 10 years later. You've got a couple of national championships with the USMTS folks, a championship with USRA. You seem to have success on your side. Is it almost hard to believe that in just that short 10-year period racing with the USMTS Tour, all the success that you've been able to bring your way?
Yeah, kind of. It makes me kind of feel old when you say that, but I mean, it's don't really seem like I've been doing it that long, but obviously I have. So, we've had a lot of good times, but, it's like anything else. We've had our struggles too. So you just got to kind of, ride the wave when it's good, and hopefully, when it's bad, it don't last that long. It's been pretty fun. Just seems like time flies anymore.
I was talking to some locals who have attempted to do what you do, and by that I mean travel a nation as a full-time race car driver, following these tours and living the life on the road. For those of us who are race fans, it looks like it would be the life of a rock star. Everything would be cool. But the folks that I have talked to say, don't kid yourself. It's a tough road to hoe. It is a very difficult life to live. Now, maybe that might be because they haven't enjoyed quite as much success as you have, but what's your opinion on the fact of the matter? Travel in the United States of America as a full-time professional race car driver, even with the success, is it tougher than you ever thought it would be, or are you just living the life, having a blast out there?
I mean, it's I've always wanted to do it, and now that I've done it, I mean, it's definitely has its ups and downs. I mean, when you run good, and definitely makes life a lot easier, but it's a job. I mean, obviously, it sounds like some of the people you talk to know, but it's a lot more work than people think, and you got to eat, sleep, and breathe it. It's pretty much a 7-day-a-week kind of thing. I mean, it takes a toll on you and your crew members, and a lot of time away from home. But it's something that you got to be definitely dedicated. That's for sure.
You mentioned a couple of very important points there, and that was crew member and family life. Tell us who's all helping you out at the track every night at the races. And I don't mean sponsors quite yet. We'll get to them, but folks who travel around with you to help you garner as much success as you've had.
Well, it's just one guy mainly. Michael Bixby, good friend of mine, came on the road with us this year and helped me some last year, and he helped me a couple years ago one summer, and it's just mainly me and him. I mean, it's a lot of work. At certain times, my dad, he'll come up if work allows, or we're kind of in the area, or my girlfriend tries to come when she's not working, or if we're in the area. But most of the time it's just me and Michael, so it's definitely a lot of work, and, it's a lot of work if everything goes smooth. So, if something goes bad, it feels like we're in a fire drill all night long. So we just try to have everything prepared as much as we can when we get there, so, if something happens, we're ready for it. But it's definitely a lot of work, but he eats, sleeps, and breathes as much as I do. So that's what you got to have to be successful at it. Somebody that really wants to do it, and that's kind of what makes us run good, I think, is, both of us are just really dedicated and spend a lot of time in it.
You as the driver, you've got an awesome crew member who helps you out. The third part of that equation for success are all those local, area, and national businesses who help you out. So give us a rundown of the supporters of Rodney Sanders Racing for 2019.
Yeah, there's a whole bunch of them. I mean, it's everyone thinks, it's like a full-time ride or whatever. I just got a lot of different people that do a lot of different things, and it couldn't be possible without all of them. I got to thank Wichita Tank Racing, One Energy, Sea Valley Transportation, Kenny's Tile, S&S Fishing and Rental, Paulson Rock Products, MB Custom Race Cars, Hatfield Race Engines, and then we got a lot of product people also. We got Swift Springs Integra Shocks, Shaw and Phil's Headers, Weir's Machines, Hittner Logging, KBC Graphics. There's all kinds of people that, even fans. I mean, that, when we sell T-shirts or whatever, that really helps us get going too. I mean, that's something that a lot of people don't really, I guess, realize, but, that really helps us get up and down the road, for the fans coming out, buying a shirt or buying a hat or whatever it may be. I mean, got to thank all of them too. And a lot of great people that pitch in and just do whatever they can. And, in this deal, every little bit helps. So I got to just thank them all.
A couple of moments ago when I was talking about a lot of the success that you have enjoyed in this 10-year span, I know you've been racing more than 10 years, but just this 10-year span of really following the USMTS series, you kind of made a joke. You said, you're making me feel old, but do you ever start to think about what might be next? Is your future more modified racing? Do you ever think of really throwing a wrench into the plans and changing things up a lot? Or do you feel like the next few years are much more of this modified racing with the USMTS series?
Man, I don't really know for sure. I mean, we kind of dabbled in the late model stuff a little bit in the past. We didn't run a lot of it last year, but 2017 we ran quite a bit of late model stuff and a little bit in 16, and we're kind of out of the late model stuff right now and just focusing on mod stuff. But I mean, I don't really know for the future. I mean, I'd love to drive a late model more. I love driving them. It's just costs so much to do both. It's hard to focus on both. So if the opportunity presented itself and, had the right opportunity, I would love to go run Lucasville or World of Outlaw or something like that, but it's just kind of not in our cards just right at the moment. But I don't really know the next couple of years. I mean, we kind of have late model stuff for now, but you never know. We might something come along and get in something again or not, or, just run this mod deal, but we just try to go wherever pays the most money or, what kind of makes sense on travel and just kind of do whatever we can. So that's just kind of where we are right now.
As a traveling racer, like you are visiting all these different tracks, week in and week out, even if they are tracks that you've been to earlier in the same season or in years past, when you get to a track, how much do you rely on your notes or your memory from prior visits to that track? And how much do you rely on just how the car has been feeling over the last couple of weeks, even if the track is completely different? Do you really go back to the books, or is it more of a feel sort of thing and you know what you might want to try early on in an evening?
You kind of go back to notes for sure on like gearing and, stuff like that. And then setup stuff, it just kind of depends. Kind of how your car's running. If it's running good at the few weeks prior, kind of go with that. But if you get to struggling, that's when really, good notes come in. Where look at notes and kind of see how the track was. So, certain characteristics of the track, might be the same as it was last time or a couple times before or something. That's where it, kind of comes in handy. But, it's you can't really go with the exact same setup because it's just changes the weather and the track conditions and whatever. But it does help to have good notes on, especially if you're struggling, you can kind of go back on a few things, or especially on the gearing too. That's always somewhat the same. So that's the biggest thing. It just changes so much in the dirt track stuff. There's so many variables, so it's just hard to go out with the exact same thing as the time before.
Coming to a track as a member of the USMTS Touring Series, you're throwing a mixed bag of competitors. You have some of the guys who you race with probably seems like week in and week out because you see them at all the USMTS shows, but then you're also throwing a lot of the locals who you may not even know at all, so you might not know what to expect. first, let's focus on some of those regular USMTS Series drivers that you compete against on a very regular basis. Who's been your arch nemesis this year? And I don't mean that in a negative way, but who does it seem like you are battling the most, at least through the 2019 season?
Kind of depends on what stage of the year, I feel like, at the beginning and first part of the year, Gustin, he's always tough, and, it seems like any big shows around, he's always up there, but there's been 4 or 5 guys that's been good all year, and, you throw in Ramirez and Terry Phillips and Marriott, he's been good all year, Jake O'Neill, they've all been kind of good, so I feel like this year it's not really as much as just one guy, dominating or whatever, you kind of seems like a guy will kind of figure out something and go good for a few weeks, and then somebody else will come on something and figure out something. So, I feel like there's, 5 or 6 of us that are really good pretty much all the time. So, it's just kind of whoever had the best setup that night or best draw or just had the best luck. So it's just kind of been a toss-up between all of us.
So you do really have a handful of USMTS regulars that you're going to be battling with. And then at every given racetrack that you visit, there are a couple of locals who are going to be able to challenge you guys as well. So my next and maybe my final question is, even though you had 3 visits to Mississippi Thunder Speedway this year, and you won all 3 of those nights. Does that give you any comfort coming into the program this coming Friday night, or is it just a whole nother brand new program, and you got to be up on that wheel and battle as hard as you can?
I think you just, got to be on your game all the time. It's definitely nice to kind of have a little bit of a notebook, but, at the same time, you got to be ready for anything. The locals, in this part of the area, I feel like are the toughest anywhere. There's, 5 or 6 that can win pretty much any night when a USMTS comes to town. So, they're really tough too. So, if you can go over there and win on a local show, I feel like that's, a pretty good accomplishment anyway, just because the locals are so good. But you just got to be on your game.
Well, Rodney, I appreciate you taking the time out of your schedule early this week to chat with us for Thunder Talk. Best of luck this Friday night and through the remainder of the hunt for the Casey's Cup Championship, and best of luck this Friday.
All right, thanks.
Rodney Sanders, he calls Happy Texas home, but his real home is on the road, searching out USMTS wins at any track that will have him for a visitor. This Friday night, Mississippi Thunder Speedway is the USMTS End of Summer Bash, including that M&M Lawn and Leisure giveaway, the Polaris 450 four-wheeler, the trip for 2 to Vegas, and the family vacation to the Dells. You got to be at Mississippi Thunder Speedway this Friday night. Hey, for those of you listening to the radio, make sure you check out the Mississippi Thunder Speedway YouTube channel, because you'll be able to hear the entire conversation that Rodney and I had as we were getting ready for this week's edition of Thunder Talk. Check it out. I know you'll like it.
Come on down to the Jailhouse Saloon. Yeah, come on down to the Jailhouse Saloon.
The Jailhouse Saloon is where everyone wants to do time. Come on in and nab up some of the best homemade pizza around. The Jailhouse has happy hour weekdays from 2 until 6, free pool on Mondays, and lunch every day at a great price.
The Jailhouse Saloon, where everyone wants to do time.